Hey guys, Banana156 here with another video. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff. Yeah, so do all that stuff. And in this video, I will be taking the political compass test. But yeah, so yeah, I'll just take the test and we'll go through it. And yeah, I'm going to be taking a few other tests in the future. Like, they will be once a month from now. Like, I only take 4, but I'll take the 8 values, the 9 axis, and the Sapley values test. So yeah, this one will be in February, then March, April, May. Those will be the others, but yeah. So, and I might not spend a lot of time on each question because there's a lot of questions. So yeah, let's get right into it. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Strongly agree. I don't think I need to explain it that much because, you know. The next question is, I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Strongly disagree. If your country is wrong, like Nazi Germany, you shouldn't support them. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Strongly disagree because, you know, yeah, I disagree because you didn't choose to be born there, but yeah. Our race has many superior qualities compared to other races. Strongly disagree for obvious reasons. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Disagree. Because they may be terrible people too. Because, like, I don't necessarily like liberals because they're capitalists, but conservatives don't like liberals either, and conservatives are not my friends. So yeah, I'm gonna put strongly disagree for that one. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Disagree. It's very rarely justified. Very rarely. Like, I would say, like, the only in response to another war crime. So I'm gonna keep it a disagree. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Strongly agree. Look at, like, Fox News. So now for the next page. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. Yeah, strongly agree. Because, you know, people act in their own class interests, and yeah, class struggle is the most common thing in most countries, and that's the main difference between groups. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Yes, agree. Because inflation, if there's a lot of inflation, it hurts the purchasing power of the working class, because their money will be worth less, so they will be able to buy less things. So it hurts the working class. So yes. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Strongly agree. Look at climate change and how it's going to happen now because there weren't enough regulations. From each according to his ability to each according his need is a fundamentally good idea. I agree with that. The freer the market, the freer the people. Disagree. Because I know what this is getting at, and I don't believe a completely free market without regulations is bad, because natural monopolies will form, and they have formed in our country, like with Amazon, and how there's only 6 food companies in the store. So no, the free market does not mean free to the people. The free market means large companies will completely control everything that you buy, and will completely control everything. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. I would agree with that. You know, I'm strongly disagreeing to the freer the market, freer the people. But yeah, on this one, I agree with that, because water is a right, and bottled water is made through taking communities' natural water sources, meaning they have to just buy the water instead of just getting it. So yeah, land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Strongly agree. I believe housing is a right, and yeah, land needs to be decommodified immediately. Not immediately, but yeah. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to society. I 100% strongly agree with that. Money is either made through exploiting people or through making money work for you through the stock market. Like, how did Jeff Bezos make his money this year? Through exploiting people, yes, and just watching the stock market price of Amazon go up. Like, he didn't contribute anything to that company or anything to society. He exploited people and watched the red line go up. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I'm gonna say disagree. Yeah, disagree. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Strongly disagree. That's not what a company is supposed to be. A company is not that leads to massive exploitation of workers, and it leads to terrible things for the working class. The rich are too highly taxed. Strongly disagree. The rich are not taxed enough. Jeff Bezos should be taxed at like a 99% rate. His 100 billion should be going back to the people. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Strongly disagree. Everyone should get the best medical care possible for everyone. And we have the ability to give everyone incredible medical care. We are the richest country on the planet, and places like France and Nordic countries give amazing health care. So there's no excuse for us not to. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Yeah, strongly agree. If you mislead the public, that is just not good. You shouldn't do it. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predatory multinationals to create monopolies. Strongly agree. Because once a monopoly is formed, it's not a free market. The monopoly owns the market at that point. Next page. Now look at some of your personal social values. Abortion when the woman's life is not threatened should always be illegal. Strongly disagree. And if you want to know why, you can watch my abortion video that came out some months ago. I explain it pretty well there. All authority should be questioned. Strongly agree. All authority should be questioned because you never know if they're right or not. You just always should question authority. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Disagree. Yeah, just disagree. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Should not be. Strongly disagree. Museums and theaters are awesome, and they should still be a thing because museums protect our history and allow us to see a window into the past and see how our country once was, or see cool science stuff. Like, who doesn't want to go and see dinosaurs? And theaters are great. It's awesome to go see I went to Lion King I went to New York when I was in 8th grade before the pandemic, and I went to see Lion King on Broadway, and it was really cool. It was awesome. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Well, that says classroom attendance, so I'm assuming that homeschool is not classroom attendance. So I'm going to agree with that because I think you should be able to have homeschool and other stuff like that. You should be able to do that if you feel like it. But public schools you have a right to an education. But yeah, you should be able to homeschool if you feel like it. But you need to be checked on what you're teaching, because a lot of homeschools, or a lot of kids that are homeschooled, can be taught completely wrong things or not be taught well at all. All people have their rights, but it is better for us that different sorts of people should keep to their own time. Strongly disagree. Diversity is what makes this country great, and diversity is always good for everything. So yeah, diversity is great. We need more diversity. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Strongly disagree. I recently took a psychology class, and the most effective way of raising children is unconditional love. And yeah, so punishing your children like that is an ineffective way of parenting them, and an ineffective way of raising them, and often hurts them in the long run. It's natural for children to keep secrets from their parents. Strongly agree. Your parents should have. It's just what you do. I'm a kid. All kids do it. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly agree. It's a victimless crime, and marijuana is basically the same as alcohol, if not better. But yeah, marijuana is great, or not great, but like having marijuana shouldn't be a crime. And I did a video on the drug war too that you could watch, because I go in depth on why the drug war is bad. The next question is, the prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. I'm gonna disagree with that. I think because you need you need to learn like things like history. You need to learn things like civics. You need to learn how the country works, even if you're not working in government. And you need to learn how to critically think. I think it's important to learn things like philosophy and stuff like that, because you need to learn how to think and stuff like that. Because you need to learn more than that. The next question is, people with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Strongly disagree. I'm not a fascist, so that's why. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Strongly disagree. It's not. You shouldn't have to. It's not. The most important thing is to learn how to critically think. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Strongly disagree. That's the Ben Shapiro line. Oh, it's not. Their race isn't more civilized. It's their culture it's their race isn't worse. It's their culture. It means the same thing. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly disagree. You have rights. You have a right to healthcare. You have a right to food. You have a right to water. You have a right to shelter, and those don't change whether you work or not. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Strongly disagree. When you're troubled, you should do some introspection and reflect on the situation, or reflect on the thoughts that you're having, and think about why they're happening, or why it's going that way. And it's always good to think about things. First-generation immigrants can never fully integrate within their country. Strongly disagree. I've met some immigrants I couldn't tell they were immigrants. They just told me. But yeah, they can totally integrate. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Strongly disagree. What's good for the most successful corporations is watching their profits go up. And watching their profits grow up means they're exploiting more people more. That's all it means. The next question is, no broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Agree. There should be no state-funded media, because that's where things like the Chinese-funded media come from, like the government-funded media, or North Korea only allowing TV channels sponsored by the government. But yeah, on to the next page 4 out of 6. And this one is, and how you see the wider society. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Strongly agree. The Patriot Act massively took away people's privacy, and yeah, it was terrible for all Americans, and our privacy is being taken away with each presidency. But yeah, so the next question is, a significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all arguments and delays the process of a democratic political system. Strongly disagree. One-party states lead to like Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union, China. All of these are fascist regimes, and all of them are terrible for the people who live there. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Strongly disagree. You have a right to your privacy. You have a right to your privacy, and the government or corporation shouldn't know everything about you. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly disagree. No, it shouldn't. The death penalty is incredibly inhumane. It shouldn't be. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Strongly disagree. I think worker co-ops are a great example of this, because worker co-ops are they're not perfect, but they're really close to democratic owns in the means of production, or democratic workplaces, which means the workers decide what the company does, and there is no managers, almost. But yeah, I feel like that's a good example of how it could work. And yeah, I strongly disagree with that. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Strongly disagree. This is one that a fascist would agree with, because abstract art that supposedly doesn't represent anything gets the people thinking, and fascists don't want you to think. They don't want anyone thinking or introspection or reflection. They don't want any of that. And abstract art can provoke that. So that's why a fascist would agree with that. I strongly disagree. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Strongly disagree. I just did a video on the prison system. I go over it there, and it's a really good video. I put a lot of effort into it, so you should go watch it. It is a waste of time to try and rehabilitate some criminals. Strongly disagree. You should try. Everyone deserves a chance at rehabilitation, regardless of who they are. Like, everyone deserves that chance. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Strongly disagree. The writer and the artist made the art, so they are the most important thing. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Strongly disagree. They should be able to do whatever they want. Abolish gender roles. They should be able to have the careers, and multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Strongly agree. Yeah, companies are exploiting everything in developing countries. Like, they constantly exploit everything. So yeah. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Strongly disagree. You need to have people. The reason the establishment changes is because people don't have peace with it. It's because they want to change it. They want to change it for the better. They want to make the establishment better. So no, don't have peace with it. And there's always room for improvement, and you can't have improvement if everyone's just like, I guess this is what it is now. Or like the myth that we're at the end of history. But yeah, page 5 out of 6. If you got through that, okay, you'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. Astrology accurately explains many things. No, it doesn't. Strongly disagree. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. I actually find a lot of religious people are incredibly amoral with their homophobia and racism and everything like that. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Strongly disagree. Charities rely on the generosity of billionaires. Social Security guarantees that everyone will get stuff and will get things. So yeah, Social Security is much better. Some people are naturally unlucky. Strongly disagree. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. Strongly disagree. My school is a Catholic school, and I absolutely hate it. And I spend most of the time in religion class arguing with the teacher. Page 6 out of 6, the last page. Finally, a look at sex. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. Strongly disagree. I don't think it is. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Should not be excluded. Yeah, strongly agree. If they're a good couple and they are stable, loving. Yeah, strongly agree. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Strongly agree. Ben Shapiro would disagree with that. He's an incredible fascist. What goes on in the private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. Oh, and if I sound tired or something, that's because I'm recording this really late. But yeah, I'm sorry if I sound tired. No one can naturally feel homosexual. Strongly disagree. I wouldn't know that. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Strongly disagree. So yeah, that's the final page, and yeah. Now let's see where you stand. I haven't taken this test forever. Okay, so it tells you the different quadrants: authoritarian left, authoritarian right, libertarian right, and liberal left. Okay, so I landed on the economic left right at -7. So I'm there's 10 units, and I'm 7 units to the left, and on the social libertarian / authoritarian, I'm negative 8.92. So I'm 9 units down to libertarian. So I am essentially an anarcho-syndicalist. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to edit this in, but I will post this on my Twitter, so if you want to go see it, go look at my Twitter. But yeah, I'm basically basically anarcho-syndicalist, which is that's what I think the ideal society should be, so that's cool. It was right. But yeah, so that's my political compass test. Thank you all for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, dislike, comment, do all that stuff. If you disagreed with how I answered any of the questions, leave a comment. We can do stuff there, or we can talk there. And if you disliked the video, leave a dislike. And yeah, I will